Good evening and welcome to the Reel McCoy podcast. I'm your host, Mephisto, and with me always my co-host, Oh My Feelings. Good morning. Good morning. Holy shit. Good evening to you, sir. Fucked it up again.
Good
How are
evening,
you,
buddy.
sir? You're okay? We
Yeah,
are
doing good.
guestless. We are guestless this week. But wait. We'll continue on with this spiel. What is the Reel McCoy, you ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we send you off to watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we geek out on it, break it down, and destroy it from all angles. And just so we do whatever we want to do. Anyway, stop with this shenanigery. Stop with the Oscars. We ain't going to hit anybody here today. We are going to discuss. We're going to dive deep into a movie that it was very hard to watch called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, for you, my friend, it was hard to watch.
Only for me. All right. Let's get on with the real spiel. If you want to interact with the show, please follow me on Twitter at Mephisto on Twitter, of course, and on Instagram at Mephisto79. If you want to email us to have any suggestions or anything you want, including graphical design. Yes, I'm still looking at you. The Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And of course, if you don't want to watch us on YouTube, if you want to watch us on Twitch, you can always go to twitch.tv/The Reel McCoy podcast and watch us there live simultaneously. Of course. I said the name of the movie, but it also starts kind of a themed month that we're going to have this month, a month of April. No April Fools, but April Las Vegas. We have a slew of Las Vegas themed movies, mostly in and around that lovely debauchery of a town called Las Vegas.
And if you've noticed, I don't know if you noticed this, but how I got it set up, Meph.
Oh,
it's all chronologically ordered.
Is it? So
yes.
Today's movie is 1998.
No. 71 to 73. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas takes place during the Nixon.
Oh, you mean in terms of when the time in the movie itself?
Yes.
Okay. No Seth, no Ocean's 11. No. We're going to save that for Heist Month.
That'd be a Heist Month, yeah. There are way too many.
There
movies
are
for
way
Heist
too
Month.
good movies. Yeah. Me and All My Feelings are really simpatico. When I say Heist Month, he already knows the 4 or 5 movies that we're definitely going to cover that we both kind of.
I have 10 that I want to watch.
Yeah,
just by mentioning them.
Of course. Yeah. So we're going to touch upon Las Vegas, and we've got sort of an amalgamation of stuff. Not like there's no Showgirls this month, although it could have been a great movie to cover visually.
As a terrible film.
A terrible film.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many that there's only 5 this month, And we're kind of blessed because April is up till the 30th, not the 31. But we're kind of blessed that we had 5
It's
Saturdays.
only 4.
4 Saturdays?
Yep.
I've got 5. I got 5 movies set up. Is it me? Or am I dumb?
I think that's you.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5.
There is 5?
Second,
Okay.
2nd, 9th, 16th, 23, and 30.
30th. Okay.
30th of April, the last date, falls on a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Without further ado, let's go into the show. How many times have you watched this movie this week?
Just twice. Just twice.
Just
because
twice.
I've read the novel many times. Growing up.
Hunter S. Thompson novel?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
And I have seen the film many, many, many times before.
I watched it once last week and then kind of watched it when I edited all the short stuff and the shorts that went up on the channel as well. Surprisingly enough, the shorts, the YouTube shorts, did better than one of the MCU shorts. Weird. I'm telling you, I still haven't figured it out. I thought I had it figured out.
There's no method to the madness.
Dude,
just revel in it.
It's just so fucking random. So the shorts will come out, just not like bombarding stuff. At least once a day. At least one every day. It's just going to cover it. By the way, congrats to both of us because you're a big part of the channel. 300. We hit 300 today.
All right.
So like, share. You don't have to like. You don't have to sub. Share the video. Share this podcast around with your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your grandma. Anybody and everybody can watch it. You can go back on the channel and watch the playlist and pick whatever movie you want. Watch and enjoy. I know some of the early ones are a little bit slow. I admit it, but I had a talk with our friend Saf, who's in the chat. One of the things that came up was the show is great. You just need more eyes on it. So eyes, it's all you guys. Just share it. Try and get people to watch it. Anyone that you know that loves movies, this show's for you. Anybody who's interested in movies, this show's for you. Go at it. Go nuts. All right, cool. We are going to go straight into our first segment of the night, which is Behind the Screens.
Production take 2.
In Behind the Screens, we go to All My Feelings and we get the lowdown on everything that was behind the scenes of the production and everything. Right.
So, very interesting to note that this movie has been in pre-production hell since 1974.
Since like a year after the book came out.
Yeah. And initially, Martin Scorsese attempted.
That's not me.
Actually, that was my phone.
It's not me. I'm not calling you.
Was attempting to get the film off the ground because he wanted to direct it. He backed out after a couple of his films got greenlit. Then Oliver Stone stepped in and wanted to try to actually direct the film.
Oh.
But financially, he couldn't get back at the time, so it kind of languished and went into just obscurity in that production limbo hell forever.
Yeah.
Rhino Studios, who eventually ended up financing or doing the kind of the pre-production and most of the initial backing of the film, began working on the film in earnest in 1992. Ooh. But production was halted until 1997 due to many disputes with Hunter S. Thompson. If you know Thompson and his work at all, just say he is not exactly a pleasant man to work with, nor is he reasonable.
If you seen the movie at all and know a little bit about who wrote the book,
Yes.
kind of know where it comes from.
Thompson's one of my favorite authors, so yeah, I know way too much about Thompson. So there were extensions after extensions after extensions. Then Thompson said finally, they're okay. He offered one last extension as long as Terry Gilliam would be offered the opportunity to direct the film.
Yeah, okay.
Rhino almost adamantly refused, went behind their backs because they had a director already picked. Last name's Cox. So anyway, they were going to go through with him directing the film, then firing Depp and Del Toro and recasting completely.
Okay. That came from Rhino?
Yes.
Okay.
What's funny is Universal then stepped in as an oversight manager and overproducer
Okay.
to go, no. This is what we want for this. Because Rhino's part of Universal, technically. That's a whole other backstory.
Okay.
They stepped in and saved the picture. Terrence Gilliam got the role as director. They kept Depp and Del Toro. And as kind of a bit of revenge, though, what's funny is Gilliam and Depp were so vindictive, they barred anyone from Rhino on set throughout the entire production. Like,
okay.
it got to the point.
I get why Terry Gilliam has the reputation he has in Hollywood as a difficult to work with.
He has his vision, and it's gonna work, or it's just not gonna work at all.
Yeah.
But funny enough, so moving back to the initial point, during the initial development, Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando were offered the roles of Raoul Duke and Dr. Gonzo.
Oh, they're too old.
Yes, this was in the 1970s, though.
Yeah, it's too old. Okay.
No, they were perfect in the 70s.
Oh, they were perfect in the 70s. Yeah,
when they were offered the role, but then they aged out of it.
Yeah.
Then from there, it was Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi were offered the roles in the 80s when they were going to try to recast it and make it.
It seems to me, and this is something that I felt like when I saw the movie about the casting, is they casted the hot actors of the moment, but they didn't want let's say the more poppy kind of actors, more like the actors, if you know what I mean. So the actors that are hot at the time.
That's a fair sentiment.
It's like saying, oh, Daniel Day-Lewis is now hot. We'll cast him as the role because he's an actor. We want a serious tone to it. A serious with serious people, I would say. But
well, my only issue
shiny
was
thing is way too shiny. Never mind.
My issue is that they went for Dan Aykroyd instead of Bill Murray, because Bill Murray actually played Hunter in another film called Where the Buffalo Roam, which we'll get to in a minute. We'll get to in a minute.
Okay.
We're going to get to that in a minute because that's a weird one. The actor that then John Malkovich in late in the 80s, early 90s was considered for the role for Raoul Duke / Hunter, basically.
Could have worked.
Then he got passed on. Then they were going to go with John Cusack, because John Cusack actually did a live play version of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Interesting.
Yeah, and apparently he was really great in the role.
Apparently.
But they passed on him to go with Depp. Yes.
Question. John Cusack was in a weird movie called Room 218. It was basically him in the movie. It was some sort of a LSD
that was based
trip
off
or a horror or something. It was based upon somebody. I don't remember the name of the writer, but he was like it's like a very famous druggy hotel, Chelsea Hotel, I think, in New York.
Now,
but it's
wasn't
very much like an LSD trip type
like,
deal.
was that room like 1308? I think that was. That was
I'll
based
check
off
it.
a
I'll check it.
Stephen
But you
King
continue. I
story.
don't want to derail you.
Yeah. But anyway, so Dr. Gonzo was actually based off of Hunter's personal friend. Oh God, Oscar Acosta, who apparently disappeared in 1974 after some very, 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 very heinous activity.
Yeah.
But when you go to again to the roles of the characters, Del Toro went headlong into this role. He gained 45 pounds for the role.
Oh, you know what? I kind of noticed it. You noticed that he's fat,
Yeah.
but in my mind, it's like, oh, that's like makeup or fat suit. But this is 1998.
8.
So
Yeah.
fat suits are not as good, especially not for I would say a low budget movie. It's not a
Overall,
high
yeah,
budget.
this is a pretty low budget movie. We'll get to the
Yeah.
budget in a second. But yeah, he put on 45 pounds to play the role, and then he religiously studied all of Acosta's life. He knew his entire life backward and forward from what was available at the time. Depp went full method. By that, he lived with Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, dude!
For 6.5 months.
The amount of mescaline poured into that guy's nose.
Yes.
I know it's not taken by the nose. I'm just saying.
Yes, but he went through. He studied all of his mannerisms, read the original manuscripts and notebooks that Hunter still had from the time when he wrote Fear and Loathing.
Yeah.
And Depp's only response to what he thought of the manuscripts, he was like, whatever you see in the film or what you read in the book, it's worse. It's way worse. Depp actually shaved his head. So that's his actual hair.
Yeah. I knew that.
So he shaved his head in that formation to mimic Hunter's male pattern baldness.
Yeah.
So what was funny is when Rhino was about to go into pre-production and starting a production, they actually threw a little bit of a fit too, where they threw out the original script that was written by Cox and I can't remember the other guy's name, but the original script was thrown out, and Gilliam was given 10 days to rewrite the whole thing before production started.
Again, one of those movies that production. It seems like a pattern now that movies that have their like production so fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh.
And with this one, that's why a lot of it, if you've ever read the book, you're like, wow, this is basically almost there are some minor differences, but it's almost like a shot-for-shot remake of the book. It's like, yeah, there's a reason why, because he had to cannibalize most of the book.
Yeah. To me, when you do any book adaptation, the closer you can be to the book, the better it is. I haven't read the book.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure reading the book would help. Because I have read Philip K. Dick stuff.
Yeah.
And
now, see, I think you would really enjoy the Rum Diary or what's the name of that novel? I have it sitting over there. It's his novel where he spent an entire year with the Hells Angels. Hunter S. Thompson did.
I've heard about that.
It's really good.
Don't remember the name.
Holy shit!
I've heard about that.
It's a great
from
book.
many sources. Okay,
yeah.
I might get it like an audiobook. And again, I kind of dislike the whole LSD writing or coked up writing.
That's really it's not about that. Especially not that the Rum Diary is when he was a young novelist. There's nothing about drugs at all in the Rum Diary.
No, I don't mind about. Never mind. It's for a later day. That's our book club. Maybe one day.
Anyway, moving on to Mr. Murray. As I said, that he played Thompson in Where the Buffalo Roam.
Yeah.
He is quoted as telling Johnny Depp, "Be careful, or you'll find yourself 10 years still doing him."
Oh shit.
The next role you take has to be substantially different from this role.
I'm trying to remember which role he took after this. Sleepy Hollow. 1999. Sleepy Hollow, I think.
99, I think. Yeah, I think it
Right?
was.
Let me check.
Yeah.
By the way, the name of the other movie is Room 1408. It's a
1408. Yeah, it's Stephen
It's
King.
Stephen
story,
King stuff, so it's nothing
Yeah.
to do with real life.
yeah.
But there's
'Cause
another one.
It was John Cusack. His son had died, and he was trying to reach out to his ghost.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
horror thing.
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow, 1999. I
Yeah.
was correct. Yes.
Yes. So then
Pull it
again,
up, Jamie. Never mind.
again, technically the movie was a bomb. It had an $18 million budget, but only returned $13.7 million in gross.
Nice.
But then it became kind of a cult classic, and reprints of it just went woo. Same thing with Fight Club.
Kind of a weird one.
And
I told you, I did find out this week through the shorts thing that this movie has like a cult following.
Oh,
And
yeah,
not
it's a
like
huge
druggy
cult
cult. It's like people who enjoy like Terry Gilliam movies, which are a little bit off kilter in most of them.
That and Pecorini's cinematography in this film is
I
fucking
did like the
nuts.
cinematography in this movie.
Yeah, it's bonkers, but wow, does it work so well.
It's a lot of I'm trying to get the person who's drugged up, so the camera goes like this and then back, because you're like wibbly wobbly kind of thing, and also like severe close-ups.
Smash cuts, yeah,
severe
like right in the face,
close-ups, and
and then
like it. Anything else?
As this became a cult classic, it also reignited interest in Thompson's back catalog, where they had to issue 5 major, massive reprints of Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, the book itself.
Wow,
it was huge.
Nice. All right, cool. Anything else?
Nope, that'll about wrap it up.
Dive in. First scene.
I could mention everything that there was a Writers Guild disagreement where, technically Cox got credit for the screenplay because Rhino had him put on as a co-writer, and then Terrence Gilliam, being the kind of insufferable cunt that he is, actively at book reading, literally burnt his WGA card.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. There was that. But that's more Terrence Gilliam stuff.
Yeah, anyway. So
before we start, I'm going to say just real quick, the opening shot of the film shows the footage of the Vietnam War and the protesters, setting up the entire narrative theme that is pervasive throughout this about the death of the American dream, according to Hunter S. Thompson.
Yes.
Go.
You know what? I had a rough viewing of this, and it started off with this. Now, you see the subtitles, right? So
yes.
I didn't watch it through VLC. I watched it through something else, and the subtitles were not there. I had a rough.
That would have been really difficult for you.
Rough viewing. Benicio del Toro does Benicio del Toro stuff where he mumbles his words, and he says something real profound, and you just missed it because you didn't have subtitles. I mean, the only movie that I remember watching without subtitles but understood Benicio del Toro was Snatch. The only one.
Really? Not even The Usual Suspects?
No.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm being harsh, but no. So I had a rough viewing.
I would say, which is kind of really apropos for the character, because Acosta, you don't really know. And also the thing was, whenever he tells someone like he's Samoan, no, it's actually a made up just, it's not a made up race, obviously, duh. No, but it's a made up racial profile that Raul Duke is giving to Gonzo, so people won't question Dr. Gonzo.
Exactly. Now, the thing is, if I had known what I know now, because I had read the Wikipedia page about it, I read the synopsis later after I watched the movie, I kind of read the synopsis just to make sure I got all the plot points correct. Thank heavens, even though there's a lot of mumbling in this movie, I got the gist. Thank God. But yeah, it was.
And see, what's so funny
rough.
is that all the mumbling is so coherently clear in the novel.
Yes, I know. When you watch it, when you see
That's
the
why
subtitles,
Yeah.
it's super clear. It's super.
And there's going to be one point that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, where it's like, oh yeah, that's a whole almost little side story in itself that just gets kind of glossed over completely.
Yeah. So
But
the two guys, the whole story begins with the two guys leaving to Las Vegas.
in what they call what us fans call the Great Red Shark.
Yeah. And
Which is
along the way, they meet up with the blonde Spider-Man.
Yes, but also you have to say the Backcountry.
Yes. Hmm?
I think one of the most famous lines from this film. Bands have actually, like, there's one band that in particular got a hit off of naming their
What?
song Backcountry.
Oh, Backcountry. Okay.
Yeah.
Picking up a seemingly innocent.
And of course, the drug stash too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the two completely wasted people, Dr. Gonzo and Duke, are picking up this innocent looking. I can't even just. It's so stupid.
Tobey Mcguire, yes.
Hitchhiker, Tobey Mcguire, and they keep trying to give him drugs.
Yes, which
seems
the
like
fun note too is if you look at Tobey's the Hitchhiker's T-shirt, the same artist that does all of the work, all the artwork for all of Hunter S. Thompson stuff. So the really deranged looking Mickey Mouse on his T-shirt,
yeah,
was done by the same artist.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Again,
I
some of the things I didn't notice, of course, because watched it originally, didn't like it originally, watched it for the critically, didn't like it as critically. If you didn't understand up till now, where I was going for. Yes. So they pick up this guy.
as Raul Duke Thompson, essentially, sitting there with the cigarette in his mouth, where he's talking to himself.
Yeah,
it's like, well, we're just gonna have to end up killing him. That's just wait.
Yeah, and did I say that out loud?
I was like, was I talking?
Now, Tobey Mcguire sweats as soon as he sits down, and you don't even know if he's sweating because he's like realizing he's with a bunch of crazy people, or it's just hot.
Well, they are in the middle of the desert, so
yeah. I was like, wait a minute, is he sweating because he's nervous, or is he actually super hot because he waited in like bumfuck nowhere?
Yes,
and suddenly these two guys show up. It's like, let's give him a ride. So they pick up this guy, and as soon as they stop for a minute, he just jumps off and says thank you and bolts.
Thanks, fun. I love Depp's portrayal of Thompson because it is so perfect. The way he hops back up, so they're like, well, gonna miss him.
Yep. And they give us a little bit on where they were in LA, because they were sitting at a place.
They were sitting at the hotel lounge drinking Singapore Slings.
Singapore Slings, which is, have you had Singapore Sling?
Yes.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good. They're sitting around, and Dr. Gonzo comes up with the master plan or whatever, and I noticed it.
Well,
Gonzo
as you know,
always comes up with the
Weekend is
plans.
completely shot.
Yeah.
Because I'm obviously going to have to go with you.
Yeah. And the thing is, he always comes up with what they need to do next. So seems like Duke always being dragged along for the ride. Like he's been dragged to Las Vegas. He's been dragged out of Las Vegas. He's been dragged into that race he needs to cover because he was
Event
sent
400,
by his
yeah.
editor to go and cover. You know, he's being dragged along, and all
Which that's fair. That's a fair assumption, especially given Costa's actual nature in general, and that's who Del Toro is trying to portray as Dr. Gonzo. It's
Yeah.
very fitting.
Yeah,
But what's always like that whole setup there, and the way that they treat other people is just such a great reflection on their characters. Like the little person that was the waiter.
Yeah.
When he gets the
Yeah.
call, what does Raul do? Grabs a whole bunch of change and just throws it on the ground.
Yeah.
There's your tip.
And I do love the fact that when they're together, they have a sort of an autistic lack of empathy to other people around them.
Yes. And also, they are very antagonistic to each other.
Yeah. They're very like in the like when they pick up the car.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, you forgot, and literally takes a.
He basically, oh my god, you just backed over that 4-foot concrete bun with nothing. What were you going about 45 miles an hour?
Yeah.
And he's gonna be like, man, this is a really nice pen.
I mean, there were really funny moments, but
Yes.
otherwise, So, and it goes back to Tobey. And like I said, he is mega shiny. And I don't know why the choice of that wig is beyond me. Beyond me. Is it described like
fits
that in
the
books?
the description in the book, yes.
Okay. I would imagine so. It's just a weird choice to put on anyone. So they arrive.
You have to realize too that as we are kind of seeing everything through the lens of Dr. Gonzo and Raul Duke, more Raul Duke than anything.
Yeah.
But the T-shirt that he was wearing was just a typical Mickey Mouse shirt. But Terrence Gilliam had the artist create that twisted version of the Mickey Mouse shirt to show how Raul actually saw the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Little tiny details. There was so much specification in this film. If you really pay attention,
me like that, but when I'm doing this to show you stuff, that's where I notice it, because they don't really stop it at certain points. So when they get to the hotel, I think Raul Duke says specifically that they took too much mescaline.
No, they took too many hits of high power blotter acid.
Okay, so the people around Raul, and because Dr. Gonzo leaves him at some point, and Raul's like, am I going to be okay? And every single person he has to deal with is being distorted in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get to the lounge in a second. One of the people is the guy who is like the guy in the lobby who picks up the keys. And then the receptionist is being this is like the start of the distortion,
where she starts like breathing out loud, and you see the eel circle around her head.
And she literally starts to turn into an eel. And when he goes to the lounge,
what's really important right there, though, just stop real quick. In the background, you hear a guy talking about some girl, a waitress, getting killed.
Yes,
that is way more explicit and detailed in the book. Like, very detailed.
Okay.
So about the waitress who got brutally murdered, decapitated, and they cut her open and drained her blood. Yeah.
Does that harken? Because I want to ask you something. Because I did notice it, and now that you mention it, it kind of reminds me of something that I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
Is it that's why the scene in the diner at the end with Alan Birkin, was that placed there just because of the murder? Because when you're like when you're writing with drugs, oh, so they tell me, there are a lot of things that get crossed over. So do you think the Alan Birkin, that whole entire scene and how she acted, does that harken back to
Do you think that was a reflection of what had
the
previously happened
reflection of what
before?
happened with the waitress?
I
Because she went off on Dr. Gonzo at the end. Like,
yes,
she went off.
yeah.
What was it in his mind that she went off? Or was she reacting like that because she was actually afraid for her life?
She was actually afraid because that had actually happened. Because if you notice, he was recording their conversation.
Yes.
So that was
I did
actually, that
notice it.
did happen, but I think that was more of a condemnation on the, not really a condemnation, but more just kind of an understanding of what a monster Dr. Gonzo really was.
Yeah, I thought so. Because she was not talking to Raul. She was talking to Dr.
Dr.
Gonzo at that
Gonzo.
point.
Yeah.
And so, like, she
And the
called
only
him.
time she ever mentions anything or even speaks to Raul is in basically just an overarching statement like, get out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I thought.
They never actually have it. Actually, they never speak to each other at all. And they don't even speak to each other in the book either. He's just there. Because he puts, because all he does is he walks back and he puts the plate down and he just walks away.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
right.
They never actually even say a word to each other.
That's why I usually watch movies twice before I do the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move on to the lounge. And I think he even says it, the full brunt of the drug kind of activates, and the hallucinations are at max level at this point.
Well, he's sitting there, he's seeing blood just pouring. It was like, oh my god, we're gonna need some fucking golf shoes.
Yeah.
We're never gonna make it out here alive.
And he sees the lizard people. Like, everyone's a lizard people. This guy's actually eating at the bar. Like,
oh my
eating
god, it's a
worms
goddamn reptile zoo. And someone's feeding these goddamn monsters booze.
Haven't we all been there before? I haven't. I haven't. I'm a vanilla boy. All right.
That was
Cool.
It's so good. And then
yeah. Where does this come from? Because I know the lizard people is a thing, but where does that come from originally?
it was supposed to be a play on just on the hallucinations, and also how Thompson as a writer views all people that are of that same ilk.
Okay.
And also, it's also a play on the concept of, yes, I know it's dumb, but it's apropos, lounge lizards.
Lounge lizards. I knew there was something. Because one of my favorite games is Larry, Leisure Suit Larry, in the land of the lounge lizards. Yes. All right. We're gonna stop here, and we're gonna go with our first segment of the night, which is called Missing a Marquee. Missing Marquee, to those who are uninitiated, is where we take posters for movies, take their text, the text is written off, and we display them. And of course, all my feelings and the chat are going to guess which movie this is. I set this up months ago. Did I not say that every single time?
Yes.
Look at what first movie we have. If I ever believed in a god, I swear to that god,
That's
this
funny.
has been set up
But yeah,
4 months ago.
It is Gemini Man. But oh
It
my
is
god, that's
Gemini
that is
Man.
hilarious. Oh my god,
I watched this movie a couple of months ago for the first time. It is horrendous.
it's not good.
Will Smith, and I discovered this yesterday. Will Smith got $40 million for this movie. And this movie made $32 million at the box office. Yes. Thank you. Next. Want me to punch in a little bit?
Yeah. Is that Steel Magnolias?
Not Steel Magnolias, but Biffer's got it.
Magnolias. Yeah. Oh, that's Once Upon a Time in Paris.
Not exactly.
One Night in Paris. It's the only good Woody Allen film that he's made since Annie Hall. But
I'll wait for the chat. That's Amsterdam, the Dutchman and the
Midnight
Dutchman.
in Paris. That's what it is.
In
Midnight
Paris.
in Paris.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I want to be exact.
You want to be pedantic about it.
I'm very pedantic. I'm sorry about the black. It's where the entire
title is.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to have to super punch in on that one.
I'll super punch in on that one. Yes, like that.
Is that Charlton Heston?
That is Charlton Heston. Yes.
I'm drawing a blank.
If I tell you the name of the movie, when you see the name of the movie, it's like, oh shit. And also the whole thing kind of looks Soylent
Green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Nice one, Biffer. Very good. Very, very good. Soylent Green.
Is it God, I never remember the full name of this. It's Dr. Sisu.
Dr.
The Life
Sisu.
Aquatic with Dr. Sisu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
The Royal Tenenbaums. I'm sorry, chat. He's just too quick.
13 Commandments.
The 13.
I wanted to see if you just hit next. 12 Commandments. I'm fucking with you.
13? Is it 10 enough?
It's 10 Commandments. I'm fucking with you. Come on. Is that Capote?
That's not Capote.
Ooh. I am not certain.
All right, chat. We've got 20 seconds. Not Vendetta, but it is Biffer all over it.
Oh, that's really Citizen Kane?
Kane.
I have never seen that poster for Kane.
I have not either. When I pulled it up, I was like, ooh, nice.
Good job, Biffer. What is this supposed to be?
Let me punch in.
Punching in won't help on animation.
I'll give you a hint. It's not an animated movie. It's a comic book movie. Not a very good one.
It's a comic book?
Yes.
I should know this then.
You should know this. You will hit yourself when I say the name.
It's not X-Men Last Stand, is it?
It's not X-Men Last Stand, but it's the vicinity of.
The vicinity of? So is it just Dark Phoenix?
Dark Phoenix.
Oh, it's the most recent one that was god awful that everyone hated. Yes.
I can't punch in. I can't punch in on this one.
Is this the Wrestler?
Not the Wrestler. It is about wrestling.
Wrestling. Oh God, I never saw this movie, and I always wanted to see it too. So no, I definitely
think
do not know
Steve
this one.
Carell got an award for this, but I'm not sure it's the Oscar.
I think he won an M, not an
I
a
think
Golden
he
Globe.
won a
I think he won a
Golden
Golden
Globe for this one.
Yeah, it's
Thank you,
supposed to be a
Biffer. Thank you,
Foxcatcher. Yeah,
Foxcatcher.
I never saw it, and I always wanted to. I'm gonna have to put that on my
haven't seen
list.
it yet. I haven't punched in because it says the Foxcatcher team.
Foxcatcher, yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, I would have punched into the.
And then I would have got it because I've heard of Foxcatcher before.
Yeah, you've heard of it. Plus, ugly Steve Carell. Yeah, that's Foxcatcher.
Sure, yeah.
That's how I know the thing. It's like,
I am actually gonna
ugly Steve Carell. That's the Foxcatcher.
I'm actually gonna watch that tonight. Now I'm writing that down because I've been meaning to watch that forever, and I never got a chance.
I might watch it this week.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I've got so much stuff I need to do. I need another person at work. I need it now. Need it. Right. Let's keep going. Because of course we're not going to cover everything from the movie. I just wanted to cover something that is like a plot point stuff. Is let me get this shot. So the whole point of them or Raul Duke in Las Vegas is he has a writing assignment, right? As a writing assignment, he needs to write about that specific desert race. He has a cameraman,
it's all about the Mint 400, and he's still under that delusion where when he hears the machine guns fire, it's actually these hunters that apparently had a deer out there, which obviously is not real.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great shots in it, especially the one where they drive in the dust.
Yes.
And you can't see anything. I could relate to that because I've been in an APC driving through that thick of dust.
And also at the end when he has his beer, when he has his hand over, he goes,
yeah, when he pours it, it's sludge. I could relate to that so much because I was in some sort of a vicinity of that again with APCs. But yeah, that's basically the plot point. And as soon as the cameraman gets a little bit like, feisty, he's like, "You're fired," and just leave me here. I'll be back. And he's like in the middle of fucking nowhere, left behind with the whole fucking that thing, that cigarette holder thing drove me fucking crazy.
Well, it was something that Thompson actually used. That's the reason why he had it throughout the entire film.
I know. Now, then our two gentlemen go completely fucked up to the most dangerous place on earth.
No, and I love this. Is like, you can't park your car here. You can't park your car. Is this not a reasonable place to park? You're on the sidewalk. Oh, Debbie Reynolds. That sounds like a hot ticket.
They go into Circus, I'm guessing. Right?
Yeah, so this is supposed to be Bazooko's Circus, where it's a play on Circus.
Yeah.
And you notice that one of the first people that they run into one of the many, many, many cameos in this is Mr. Vern Troyer as the little person waiter.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Noticed it. Yes, I did.
He does pull out a brilliant condemnation about Las Vegas. It was like, in all of the towns, they would turn you away. Ether, it's a hell of a drug. It makes you act like the town drunk in an early 18th century Irish novel.
There's two women fucking the polar bear, dude.
There. Yes. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that because there are some lines in this scene alone that I love.
Oh, there's so many of these like crazy fucked up lines.
Well, because as they're walking through, like, wow, this is a place where we should not be.
Yeah, I think Raul
this is what the whole Hep world would be doing if the Nazis won the war. This is the Sixth Reich.
Yeah, he's like, he realizes at some point this is the worst place to have a trip in because this place is already fucked up.
That the guy selling the big picture on the cowboy, that's Penn Jillette.
That's Penn Jillette. Got it.
Yep.
That's another one. And I was like, oh, Penn is here. Where's Teller's gonna
Teller?
pop? Yeah, where Teller's gonna pop over? He's not in this, isn't he?
Nope.
Did I miss him? No, he's not in
He's
this. So
if he is, he sure as shit doesn't have any lines.
yeah. Ba-dum-bum. Psh.
Bam.
Yeah. So Mr. Gonzo has a moment. I would say a moment
like,
where they
I think I'm.
goes,
Like,
goes,
I don't think I can stay one more minute in town. I think I'm beginning to feel the fear.
Yeah. The thing that encapsulates this whole scene, it's a 10-minute scene, is when they're trying to get off the merry-go-round, which is a cafe/bar.
Quick, like bunny.
Can't, and
he can't do it.
They can't fucking do it. And I was like, oh, I've seen this before. It's like, not personally, but I've seen this before. It was the most believable scene ever to me, where people are like fucked up beyond all recognition, trying to do a very simple task.
Simple task, yeah.
Yeah. So they go back. I know it does take a while, but they do go into the room, and we have this scene. Of course, not automatically, but this scene that what the fuck is wrong with these people?
I was gonna say you should roll that back just a little bit, because they were talking first about another.
Yeah, they were talking in the room, and Raul says, "Never argue with a man who has a hunting knife."
No, it's just like you can always deal with the person, but you never ever turn your back on a drug, especially when it's waving a razor sharp hunting knife at your eye.
Yeah, it's basically that point.
Yes.
Where they go into the room, then he leaves, then he comes back, and then he finds Dr. Mr. Not, is it Dr. Gonzo? No, Mr.
Dr.
Gonzo.
They were
Dr. Gonzo.
It's Dr. Gonzo. Yeah.
So Dr. Gonzo in the tub with
I was going to say,
grapefruits.
but you have to remember too, there is the scene with Cameron Diaz in a very, very young Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, but this is
in the elevator with their former photographer friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is after the mask, of course.
Yes.
But you can say it's a cameo. Even Tobey Mcguire is sort of a cameo. He does appear twice, but he doesn't have a lot of lines, and he doesn't have a lot to do with the plot so much. No. Even Gary Busey's character, the highway patrolman, was sort of a cameo, I would say.
Yes.
Right? So a lot of really well-known actors and actresses are in this.
Well, that obviously also Christina Ricci.
Yeah. Yeah. Was he?
We're gonna get this.
Was she dating Johnny Depp at the time?
No.
Oh, no. He was Winona Ryder's guy. Yeah.
Penelope Cruz. He was
1998?
Yes, because
wasn't it after Winona Ryder, where he turned Winona into Wino?
Yes. But then he was with Penelope Cruz, I think, from here all the way through the end of Blow, which is another really good movie.
Wasn't he married to that French singer?
I don't know.
Never. We'll let the TMZ stuff aside, okay? We'll let the TMZ stuff aside. But what it kind of culminates, this whole bathroom scene, where Dr. Gonzo wants him to put the fucking toaster in the tub. Not the toaster, the recorder. The recorder, right?
The player to throw it in, like
as it hits
when the white rabbit peaks, throw it in.
and this entire scene, because of the music, by the way, the music in this movie is fucking awesome.
Oh, it's fucking phenomenal.
Soundtrack is phenomenal. It's a lot of 60s and early 70s songs, but they're very handpicked and very, very good.
Except for there's one mention of sympathy for the devil, and they were supposed to play it, but they couldn't afford the rights
They
to
couldn't
it.
afford the rights.
Yeah.
I was waiting for sympathy for the devil.
Yeah.
So funny. It's so funny how things kind of conglomerate and come together.
Yeah, they couldn't afford the rights to that one.
For the stuff that you asked me to watch, and I was like, eh. Then I watch and they're like, holy shit, thank you.
Yeah.
So he wants it. So the thing I thought about while watching the scene is how fucked up they fucked Matrix 4, because their whole trailer was White Rabbit.
Yeah.
And Follow the White Rabbit, which isn't the first Matrix, but fuck it.
Because that actually made sense. This one was just again, Matrix 4 should not have been made. There was no point.
I know. But the thing is with this, there's a crescendo, right? The crescendo for White Rabbit, and he wants him to throw the recorder inside in the crescendo because he wants to. He didn't say kill himself. He said like pleasuring himself or something to do with not dying, right? Is it me or
I want to feel the music. I want to feel it right when the White Rabbit peaks.
Yeah.
Right when the White Rabbit peaks.
And instead of throwing the recorder, he throws a big fucking
grapefruit. I love that scene is so fucking funny. Where he goes, 3, hey, stay there, you bastard. 2, 1.
Yeah.
It's and just... Del Toro running up like an angry bear.
And after that, he kind of, I'm leaving. I'm going back to LA. It's like on a dime, like that.
No. He stays there in the room that night, remember?
But he leaves in the morning, leaving Johnny Depp with a mountain of bills.
Yes, but what's important though is the scene that comes right after this one. It's very, very important.
Okay.
It's crucial in the book as well.
Okay.
So after this, when Dr. Gonzo goes through his rage, where he runs out and he has the hunting knife.
Yes.
Where he's waving the knife around and everything because he's like,
right?
because he has the mace in his hands, like it's mace. Yeah. You don't want this. You don't want this. He goes, I have to write this. I need to fucking rest, man. Please.
Yeah.
What is Dr. Gonzo's response? Is like, oh man, you got to get back to work. What a bummer.
Yeah. It seems like he's like complete with the fact that we went a little bit too hard.
There's a little bit of rationality there where he understands, like they're like a moment of clarity almost. But when he
leaves,
when he goes back into the bathroom, and what does he do? What does Raul do? He grabs the tray and puts it up as a chair, like against a door. Doesn't realize that the door pulls in.
The door pulls, yeah.
So the tray wouldn't do anything. Still love that.
Exactly.
And then they have the conversation about. Then he's talking about the late '60s, several years prior to this.
Yeah.
When he talks about the Matrix Club, and it does that zoom in on that scene where he's walking around that club in that red woolen shirt, that flannel shirt.
Yeah.
And as that zoom in on the guy goes like, I've got all the fixing, all I need is a place to cook. And he's in the bathroom and he does the acid and he spills it all over his sleeve. And that hippie comes out like, what's the trouble, man?
Yeah.
Do you know who that hippie is?
Lyle Lovett.
That's Lyle Lovett.
I know. That's Lyle Lovett. Who was the hippie?
He is actually making his second appearance on the podcast. He was a nihilist before.
Oh.
It's Flea.
It's Flea. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Fucking. But you know what? I was thinking, Flea's in this too.
Yeah. But the reason why this scene is so important is because it then goes back from all the hectic mayhem and the drug-fueled nonsense into the actual ethos and methodology behind all of the madness in Thompson or Raoul Duke's brain about how it was the death of the American dream and how we all thought that we could live through peace this way. And was it Timothy Leary wanted to expand consciousness but had nothing to do, like had no concept of how to rationalize how to utilize it in the future. And it's a condemnation on the free love culture that he came from into this like new dichotomy that he finds himself in.
Okay. So like I said before, kind of jumped the gun, but Dr. Gonzo leaves Raul Duke with a whole bunch of bills. He says we ran up bills that were $38 an hour.
$32 to $46 an hour for 48 consecutive hours in 1972.
Yeah, which means
it's an insane amount of money.
Insane amount of money. So all he does was he slips out, goes into the car, and leaves Las Vegas.
No, I love how when he's trying to leave, the clerk comes out and gets it. Mr. Dick, hey, hold on, there was a message for you. And he looks at the back seat and he sees all the shit from the hotel in the back seat. And Raul's he tries to pull a little cover. He's like,
yeah, but he can't do it because you can definitely see it. But he doesn't care about anything that is in the car. He doesn't even care that the guy's leaving. He just wants to give him the telegram, the message from Dr. Gonzo.
Yeah, well, then also he tells him, well, also, do you know when Dr. Gonzo will be awake? As my manager wants to meet him. He wants to meet all of our very, high class clientele.
Of course, because they ran up a tab that looks like high class.
Yes.
Well, shit, that jumped on me. Where was it?
But I love when he first gets caught, the first thing he looks over and he says out loud, he goes like, well, many fine books have been written in prison. And the guy goes,
yeah,
what?
So he runs away, and of course he's still in the grips of of last night. So he rides a little bit too fast and gets caught by Gary Busey.
No, then he has a whole conversation too. Where he goes like, well, what the common person doesn't realize that you should not pull over immediately. This breeds contempt in the heart of a highway patrol officer. What you have to do is you have to make them chase you. It's like, no,
you don't. It's like you're screaming to yourself, no, you don't.
No, it's like,
I'm
and
not
what you should do is
in the US, and I know
you have to keep gunning it. But then then what you should do is keep your right turn signal on to keep him guessing, because it looks like you may turn over. You may pull over to a stop. It's like, no,
please don't. And this is him supposedly not on any drugs. This is him like sober.
Oh no, he's still fucked up because he had been
fucked up
because he was driving. He was obviously he was drunk driving at this point too.
Yeah,
because he
had an open canister, but it was before the open alcohol laws, I'm guessing. Right?
Yes, technically. Still, it's kind of probable cause where it's like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah. Because
especially
the guy's
if you were
looking at the back and he sees a whole case of fucking beers unopened. So
and one open, and also you had just been basically driving at high speed once a cop got behind you.
Yeah. The only thing that like shocked me is the fact that the guy he told him, look, you have to rest. I can see you're tired and shit. You need to rest. There's a rest stop down the road. Just go and rest, and I won't arrest you or give you a ticket.
Because he was saying,
which to me is like, what? I wish.
Yeah.
Like, I wish.
And this plays into
it's a bit
whole other little side story that they really don't go way into detail with the cop. But
so
anyway,
is it something special in the book or
a little bit? This scene is a little bit more expanded upon, where it does seem like more either he is trying to fuck with him deliberately as he perceives it when Duke gets away
Mm.
from the situation,
Yeah.
or the cop was actually homosexual the whole time.
Oh, that would work like that.
So
That would.
it's kind of mired in ambiguity because it's really hard to tell. Because again, we're dealing with a very unreliable narrator, even in the book, because it's all about a drug-fueled frenzy.
Yeah.
So but anyway, at the end of that scene, there's like, well, going to Baker. Well, fine. So Baker is actually just 2 miles outside of the rest stop, but it's out of my jurisdiction. So get to the rest stop, take a rest. That's
Yeah.
it.
And that's it.
But,
You won't get a ticket.
But first, can I ask you for a favor?
Hmm?
I'm so lonely out here.
Yeah.
Can you just give me a kiss?
And I was like,
It's so fucking funny.
Cut to Jeff, not Jeff. Fuck. Cut to Johnny Depp driving away. So it's a little bit ambiguous in the movie itself. So we get to the rest stop, and lo and behold, who is there?
Oh, fuck.
And the thing he says is like, oh, he's chasing me. Even though they kind of, he wanted to get away. Different shirt, by the way. Didn't notice it till now, but it's a different shirt.
It's not.
It's not. It's the same one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different angle.
Yep.
All right, cool. Never mind.
Still has the American flag and the Mickey Mouse ears.
Okay. Yeah. This is a scene that I didn't quite I just didn't understand it. What happened here? He sees the guy and he just bolts, and then he finds the telegram and he calls Dr. Gonzo to come back to Los Angeles or something, and come back to Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, he calls Dr. Gonzo to basically chastise him for bailing on him.
Yeah.
And leaving him with everything out there, like, yeah, they're after me now, and so, like,
even though nobody was after him at that point.
Yes,
basically.
And also, didn't you love the fact that when that scene in the car when he got the telegram, where it actually mentions like, well, no, you don't understand. This message wasn't from Thompson. It wasn't from Thompson. It's to Thompson.
Yeah, I realized it was from Dr. Gonzo to.
No, it was actually a message from himself to himself. It's a really fucking weird thing.
What?
That's what he was basically, the way that he was saying it, how it was listed out, that he was basically messaging himself.
But
it was a message from another one of the press writers to get him another job out there to cover the narcotics, but it was to Thompson. But the way that Raoul Duke states it is basically he's saying, I sent a message to myself from myself.
Okay, so this is where not watching a movie without subtitles does to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I kind of missed. So we get a little bit of a reunion. I love the fact that when they go into the hotel, what's the name of the actor? He plays Stabler in
Christopher fucking Maloney.
Maloney.
And Sven. Oh my god, that role is so fucking with the
dude. I love that character. I love that character
police
so much.
Captain from Michigan. I was told on this postcard I had one. It was like, but I understood what he was saying. Listen. I've been fucked around by a lot of people, a lot of hard, well-to-do cops like you. And you know what? I'm in charge. So fuck you, officer.
Yeah. And
no, fuck you, officer.
This is Christopher Maloney before Oz. This is before Oz.
This is right when they were shooting actually the first season of Oz.
Oz came out in 99 or 2000?
Yes.
Oh, it
No,
came out in
it
99.
came out in late 98, early 99.
Oh, this is Christopher Maloney literally just before Oz came on,
Yeah.
before he became the Christopher Maloney.
Yeah. Which, oh
And
my God. If anyone out there, if you have not watched Oz, watch that show. It's
watch
so
that shit. It's
fucking
so
good.
fucking good, especially the first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Later on, it becomes a little bit more
It
crazy.
gets a little bit wonky, especially that one, like the Antichrist character that out of nowhere that made no fucking sense was like,
yeah. It's a little bit, like this, but the first 3 seasons are fucking amazing. Amazing. So he gets into a hotel, and of course Sven helps him because
Sven immediately he's like, so yes, sir. Like, I need a quarter wild turkey. I need 2 quarts of rum, and can I get maybe some lime chunks? And Sven goes, I'm thinking yes.
Yeah.
And if you need anything, you contact me, Sven.
Fucking love it. It was so good. It was performed so good. And it also drove the fucking police chief guy. And it's like a convention of police chiefs. Something like that.
It's all about it, basically just narcotics detectives.
Yeah, it's not only police chief, it's narcotics, which is that dichotomy. All right, cool. So we go up to the room, and we've got some sort of a reunion. So Dr. Gonzo comes in, and he's like bringing a teenager. She's a student.
Yeah,
but it's a little bit iffy on what kind of a student is she. She studies painting, and she loves Barbara Streisand.
She's not really a student. That was the lie that Duke came up with to get her a hotel room at the other hotel later.
Yeah, and he did that because he smelled something iffy in the air.
Well, it was just a girl that basically Dr. Gonzo had found on a plane, wanted to do some things with, and
Exactly. Now, it's Christina Ricci, but it's fat Christina Ricci, not like today where she's super skinny and I hate it. She's not big, she's not fat.
I would say
she's fuller. I prefer full Christina Ricci.
She's at a healthy weight.
I prefer Buffalo 66, Prozac Nation Christina Ricci rather than whatever she took to make her look super skinny in 2010 or whatever.
Yeah. But the description that Dr. Gonzo gives for Lucy is hilarious. It's like, and Lucy paints pictures of Barbara Streisand. I painted these from the TV. And oh God.
See, she's not skinny, and she's not fat. She
looks like a normal woman.
Right?
Not a big deal.
Yeah. It's not a good picture too. It's not a good angle as well.
But Raoul Duke's immediate condemnation of her artwork, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Painted from the TV. Yeah, I can see that.
He does realize that she needs to fucking
go
away.
He pulls Gonzo outside in the hallway and says, it's like, do you realize what's going to happen to you when this all goes down?
Yeah.
When that girl realizes when you penetrated her with your uncircumcised member, as the couple walks by, going, ugh. Gonzo, that's ugly, man. Ugh.
So they get rid of her. They go to the convention hall because I'm guessing, again, this is where I needed subtitles to get why they're there. Raul's there to cover that convention.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And they sit there, not stone sober, but they're not high, like not particularly high, but they want to leave immediately.
Well, Gonzo does. Raul, on the other hand, is doing.
Yes, exactly. He's hiding the whatever he took, or
I
whatever
do believe that was a little tiny vial of Coke, if I'm not mistaken, because it wasn't an amyl. Because you pop amyls. Amyls are really, really more prevalent in the book than they are in the film.
Okay. Speaking of drugs, they go up to the room and then
I was only going to say one thing about the conference, though,
go ahead.
was the reefer madness aspect of how completely ignorant the police are at the time.
Yes.
And even Gonzo's like a roach.
The info, I would call infomercial.
Yes.
It kept going on how marijuana is a gateway drug to.
No, it wasn't about that. It was more about how it turns you into this crazed psychopath, essentially.
Yeah.
Because like you'll find him stumbling, unable to cooperate, hands gripped white with tension, then shirts, pants with sticky like dried residue, again from constantly jacking off when he can't find a rape victim. It's like, I've known many a pothead in my day, and trust me, the last thing they want to do is that.
I've known
or act like that.
I've known many a potheads over on this side of the ocean. Trust me, psychos, not so much.
No.
Lazy, probably 90%.
That's fair. I mean,
probably 90%.
But I was also just going to bring up their specialist they brought up, mentioning the small little bit of a joint in a baggie, where it's like, and they call this a roach because it resembles a cockroach. And Gonzo's like, how fucking high on acid do you have to be to think that this looks like a fucking cockroach?
I was like, no, it doesn't.
No, and then the one guy randomly asked the question, like, hey, do you think the current behavior of the anthropologist Margaret Mead, do you think a marijuana addiction would explain her most recent behavior? Again, being so completely ignorant of how drugs moderately affect the body whatsoever, he says, well, I don't know, but at her age, she'd be on one hell of a trip. And everyone laughs. It's like, this is
yeah, exactly. And even me, who's not a drug connoisseur, was like, no.
Yes. No. So Gonzo leaves, and it cuts into Duke sitting there.
Yeah.
And there's this overweight older couple that's next to him that are making out during the film footage.
Yeah.
That starts to roll. It's like, everyone's awful in this.
Yeah.
Everyone is awful.
Yeah, including the narcotics cops.
Yes. So when they get back to the room, Lucy calls, and then there was that cut to the fake trial that you showed before.
Yeah.
And you saw who the judge was, right?
I must have missed it. Probably somebody I know, and
it was Henry Dean Stanton.
It was Henry Dean Stanton. That's right.
Castration, double castration.
And they go into the room, back to the room, like I said, after many iterations, and Raul kind of finds the super duper uber drug, and Dr. Gonzo tells him to take just a tiny bit,
just a taste,
because it's
just
very
a taste.
Potent.
Yes.
Yeah, very potent, and he keeps like taking and then taking a little bit more and then taking it more. And I was like, blah, 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 blah.
Johnny Depp's acting throughout this is, I think, by far one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie, because blah, 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 blah.
And I don't know how this happened, by the way. Props to the 70s rug on the floor, the plush rug on the floor.
Full shag carpeting. That is so
fucking stupid. So happy I didn't grow up in the 70s. Oh, wait. Just remember, everything that the U.S. does, Israel does at a 5-year gap.
Oh yeah.
So
So
the
that did probably
70s
you probably grew up with that in your
hit
childhood a little
us
bit.
in like a bag of like a bag of dicks in 83. So I knew all about that particular carpet. By the way, not a lot of carpeting in Israel, but could you imagine shag carpeting in tile form in the bathroom?
Ugh.
Yes. Yes. And when you
Ugh.
think about that color all over the walls, tile form.
Why would you ever do that?
Wait, there's more. Also, have you ever seen bathrooms with the round carpeting around it?
Yes.
Like it literally smells of piss, right?
Yeah.
So if you had a, let's say, pink tiling, you had a olive green mat on the bathroom. By the way, the toilet bowl is of course purple or violet, I would say. And green carpeting. If you had
someone who colorblind did this designing,
if you had avocado green as tiling, you probably had, guess what? A pink violet rug. I don't know how that combination was born, but as you can see, the sofa is green. Olive green. The floor is pink. I am
it's fucking
100%
hideous.
not
It is.
joking.
Ugh.
Yes. And you need to shower in that. Cut to the massive fucking trip. The massive, what was it? It wasn't LSD. It was some sort of gland.
It's a made up drug.
It's a made up drug, right?
They're referred to as adrenochrome, which is it's supposed to be
From the adrenal gland, and
which oddly enough would just be, if you think about it, would just be pure adrenaline. So
yes, exactly.
That's
exactly what I was thinking. It's like, it could be a little bit more, peppy, but not more than that.
Well, because he says when he's just a taste because that stuff makes pure mescaline seem like ginger beer.
Yes.
Which I don't know if you've ever had mescaline before, but
I did not. But the whole
not going to say anything.
The whole theme of like lizard people, I can't really find it. Again.
That's ass. That's a hallucinogen. Yeah, that's
no. I mean the whole Raoul Dukes wearing sort of a lizard costume.
Oh, the crocodile tail. Yeah,
the crocodile tail. Exactly. So
what happens? Okay, I'll put it this way. What happens during the blackout?
Yeah, is when they literally assault a chambermaid as well. Both him and Dr. Gonzo.
Yeah.
Ish, not really.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah. They don't really assault her. They take her on and they aim like a hairdryer or something like that.
Well, he aims and oddly enough, that's an old school rep wire mic. It just doesn't have the boom cone around it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's why he was able to record their conversation, wouldn't play it back later. But she didn't know any better.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, go on. Keep going.
But the whole adrenochrome thing, it's completely fake. It doesn't exist. That's what they were also talking about cutting when Dr. Gonzo was going through the whole spiel about how he got it.
Yeah.
And then he also saying like, well, he also like mentioned selling me human blood and then also pineal gland.
Yeah, the thing about the pineal gland,
they're getting like super as it's going really deep into that dark turning twist on the what is perceived as their high.
Yeah, the thing about the pineal gland, it's something that I've learned from Rogan that it's a gland that actually produces the same I'm going to get this wrong, the same kind of not hormones, but the same stuff that causes an LSD trip. It's Terrence McKenna stuff.
Is that the kind of thing that's the same thing where they say like the near death experience thing is similar to DMT?
Yes, yeah, the DMT. It actually secretes DMT, and it causes the pineal gland is attributed to this stuff, the gland that gives you dreams, and dreams are connected with DMT dreams. All that I can't really go into detail because I'm really like listened to it once or twice, but it's a lot of Terrence McKenna, who's like a proponent of LSD therapy and getting psychedelics to literally expand your mind, not to get high, just to
expand your consciousness. That's exactly
expand your consciousness.
That's what Leary wanted to do.
To figure out the universe and the questions that modern science can't answer, because you haven't used enough of your brain matter to do it.
Yeah,
basically that's basically
the ideology behind
it. The ideology, whatever, All right, we are gonna do a little bit of a stop here because we're gonna do our second segment of the night, which is Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
What is Screen Fighter? We take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall to our criteria, which is Friday evening, Saturday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. We have two options. In a vacuum, which one will we pick? Chat participation is most welcome because we have no guest to balance out the universe. Two choices in a vacuum: Dazed and Confused, True Lies. Which one will we pick? Well, we'll discuss Mr. Willis at the end of the episode, of course.
Yes, but all I have to say is, all right.
Ooh, no, I was going for. I keep getting older. They all stay the same age. I love True Lies. I fucking love True Lies, but Dazed and Confused is one of those cult classics that you need to watch. There are tons of actors in this that later on had fantastic, phenomenal fucking career. Along Came Polly or Simpsons the movie.
Ooh, both are bad comedies.
Yep. I mean, one is Spider Pig and the other one is Jennifer Aniston.
One should have came out about 10 years earlier, and the other one should have never been released.
I would say.
Along Came Polly, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the stupid Ethiopian food where he had, oh wow, let's make fun of people that have irritable bowel syndrome. Okay, cool. Making a poop joke. An extensively long poop joke for about 30 minutes.
And also Philip Seymour Hoffman eating the most disgusting New York pizza ever.
That's
dripping of oil.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go with Along Came Polly just because of the Philip Seymour Hoffman's character in Along Came Polly.
Yeah, I will too, because at this point, I've been done with The Simpsons for almost 20 years, and I really don't know why they're still making it, because it just keeps getting worse.
What Lies Beneath and Transformers, Michael Bay's assassination.
Wow.
Saf says Transformers.
Wow.
The other chat members are quietly not participating.
You know.
It's it's a tough choice. It's going to be What Lies Beneath for me, even though Didn't quite like it, by the way.
I think I'm gonna have to follow you on that one because
You didn't like What Lies Beneath, eh?
I know.
All right, cool. Next,
The Transformers is
Assassins
awful.
or Shrek? Ooh. I'm at a loss
This is
here.
really underrated. It's
I'm
actually
really
a
at a
really
loss.
good Stallone film.
I really love Assassins. I really, really loved Assassins. And it was sort of the 90s had Assassins. It had what's the other movie he did with when he plays like a bomb guy with Sharon Stone? Forgot the name. You know which one with James Woods?
Yeah.
That movie,
I
both
can't
of them
recall
came
the name
out
of that.
like one after the other. Then Stallone had Judge Dredd. Before that, he had Demolition Man. So the 90s were really good for trying to break away from the whole Rocky Rambo of the 80s.
I will just say though, let's not include Judge Dredd in that because Judge Dredd was fucking awful.
I know, but I'm giving you like there's a list of 90s movies that
And wait,
that Stallone did that it was a break. It was still
Yeah.
action.
Well,
but
because
it broke away from the Rocky Rambo type deal.
Yeah, because it went from Cliffhanger to Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. Then he had that movie that I don't remember the name of. I can pull it up now, but
then Assassins. Then no, I know what you're talking about. But so, don't know. We gave it to Shrek last week, and I would say in a vacuum, I would have to give it to Shrek due to cultural relevance. But if I was gonna watch a film, I would choose Assassins.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I can't find it. There's tons of movies that he did. Holy shit. I would go with Shrek, even though I really want to. I'll probably watch Assassins this week. I'm gonna go with Shrek. And yes, Saf said it. Banderas was really good in Assassins. Animal House or The Jungle Book?
Because that was that
House
right before he for Banderas, was that before he did
before Zorro?
Before Zorro, but it was right after El Mariachi, right?
It's after Desperado, I think.
Okay, I can't remember the first of. I can never remember which of those films is first in that whole trilogy.
The first is El Mariachi, but he was not in it. Then Desperado. Then
is it Once Upon a Time
in Mexico?
Yeah.
The third one. So Animal House, hands down.
Oh yeah, easy.
Next, Walk the Line or Ex Machina.
Now this is a good toss-up because both these films are amazing.
Can I confess? I didn't like Walk the Line, but caveat.
I don't think you're not a Johnny Cash fan though.
I'm not a Johnny Cash fan. To be fair, I didn't enjoy the movie, but I recognized it was a good movie. So I'm not going to put it down. It's just I didn't like it, which happens, you know.
That's fair.
Ex Machina was out of left field for me. And it had Oscar Isaacs, fucking phenomenal. And it had the guy I never remembered the name of, who is Ginger. And he's in a lot of things that I like, but in some things that I really dislike. So he was in Star Wars that I didn't like. But he was in the movie, I think it's About Time, which I fucking loved. So it's Ex Machina all the way. The chat is with me. So
yeah,
where are you at? You're with Walk the Line?
Overall, as a better film, I think Walk the Line was better. But I think as a surprise sleeper hit that has more impact as kind of it was really low budget too as Ex Machina because it also really propelled Oscar Isaacs into fame
and Alicia Vikander.
More Oscar Isaacs though.
Technically yes. Dominic Gleason, thank you. Arrest Will Smith. that Biffer?
I assume that's probably
Good one. Good one. Right. We're gonna go with Ex Machina with the crowd. We're gonna do a couple more. I got a couple more because I don't want to be too late today.
Oh,
Thank you
these
for
are both.
smoking or the game,
God,
dude.
both these movies are so fucking good.
The guy who took me to see Lyon also took me to see the game. Against my good judgment. I fucking love the game. Thank you for smoking. Not for me. Thank you for smoking a sequel to another smoking based movie that was done in the late 80s, early 90s? They're not related, right? You know which movie I'm talking about. I just don't remember the name.
Yeah.
The first Saf's first date movie was The Game. Terrible first date movie.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense, Saf.
My first date movie with Mrs. Meth, Bug's Life. I still don't know what happened in it.
I could take that as two ways, and I am not. No, I don't want to know. Ew. No, I don't want to know.
Hey, there was no official touching.
What is unofficial touching? Where do you draw the line?
There was no mouth to penis. That's official touching.
I am not. No, I am.
You quit.
Moving on. Moving on. Anyway,
so The Game or Thank You for Smoking.
Also,
as thank a film, you. Also, to me, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, as I would say, Thank You for Smoking. Has given my background in business and stuff, and especially what I do on a daily basis, I really, really, really love Thank You for Smoking. I think it shows the more pernicious side of business, and it actually has a lot of humor in it, despite how horribly awful the messaging can be at times. But overall, it does wrap up in a good way.
So
the
you're
game,
on Thank You for Smoking?
Yeah, because if I was gonna watch The Game, I think it's a great film, but I would rather just watch Seven.
Interesting. Okay. It's The Game because chat.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Last one. Superman 2 or Three Kings. Are we in unison with this? Superman 2?
I say all hail Zod. I mean, come on.
All hail General Zod.
Although Three Kings is not that terrible of a film.
It's not as bad as people remember it.
Yeah.
Plus, it had Ice Cube. Thank you, Saf. I would say definitely. See, this is why chat exists.
Yes. Biffer, I love you so much, buddy.
We love you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. As enjoyable as all the memes I've watched this week. Interesting, right? So in the throes of a massive trip, this is not the thing I wanted. Yeah, this. There. We get the two boys still out and about recording shit with the boom microphone. I just noticed it now.
Yeah.
But yeah. And this is how he got all the recordings of everything. But they were blacked out they were blitzed out of their mind at this point. And it kind of, when the movie kind of ends, after they ran into Lucy in the street, and it kind of a little bit wakes like wakes them up to
It was that
the
snap to
danger.
reality.
Yeah,
Well,
to
because
the
that was
danger.
after they had already really resigned themselves to their fate, and they were on their way to drop Dr. Gonzo off at the
Oh,
airport.
that's right. That come in the morning, in the
Yeah.
like at the end of their cycle, they go, like we said, to the restaurant with the with Alan Birkin's character.
But that actually, but also that scene is also in retrospect. It's a
The scene in
recording
the
that he's
diner?
listening to. Yeah.
See, this is why I need to listen to this with subtitles.
Yes. Yeah. So there's
This
all kinds of scenes in the interim too, where when they're driving down the road and Gonzo vomits off the
Yeah,
side of the
that's-
car,
that's the-
and he's yelling and screaming at them like, "You guys want to buy some heroin? I just
Yeah.
got back from Vietnam."
That's the scene I showed before. I just couldn't show the vomit part.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
But
then they bring back there's a snapback shot to where they're actually at Bazooko's, the circus scene.
Yes,
Where
exactly.
again, the one line in this movie, I don't know why this sticks out in my brain so much, but it's so hilarious. He's sitting there talking to a random guy, and there's an orangutan sitting.
Yes.
Also, but
because
but he's
because
talking
of
to the
this
guy.
line. Because of this line. Are you
Yeah.
a fucking monkey? It's the
No,
guy with the monkey.
No, it wasn't that. No, they're sitting there. They're talking about just about the one guy is actually having just telling him about Bazooko Circus itself, about how the owner just really bought it and started it up because he wanted to run away and join the circus when he was a kid. Which is
Yeah.
true about the guy who started Circus, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
But then Raul is just platinum agreeing with him, trying to get to his point, and finally there's a pause there when he goes, "All right, let's get down to brass tacks. How much for the ape?"
Yeah.
He goes, "I don't know how much you got." And then there was that line there about the monkey was like, "I don't know." The monkey ripped off the bartender's head is with the line in the movie, which
Yeah.
wasn't in the book. That's a really weird scene.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of
anything to do
differences
with that
in there.
circus thing.
Yeah.
It was trippy before they went in with the trip themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
and then there was the scene that
it was very prevalent on both times that they were there.
Yeah.
That it's sort of sensory overload on top of a sensory overload, which makes it not good.
And then there was also right after that scene, there is one of the most important quotable lines in Thompson's whole career, because it's in two other of his novels actually. One's a bit of short stories, and one it's quoted once in the Rum Diary as well, where he starts talking while he's listening and he's running back all the things after the Bazooko Circus scene, where he's sitting in the room, the dilapidated, really horribly wrecked room, by himself, and he's, whatever, buy the ticket, take the ride.
Okay.
It's a very, very, very famous Thompson line. So
now, this is the point where the room is flooded with water.
Yes.
And he goes through Dr. Gonzo's stuff.
You notice that he's wearing waders.
Yeah. And he has a knife with blood on it. And then he goes into, we were at the diner.
The flashback of the North Star Coffee Lounge, where the first scene says like North Vegas. That's a place where you go when you fuck up too many times. Where even the low rent places off the South Strip, which you've never been to Vegas, have you?
Nope.
Yeah. You don't go. South Vegas is what they refer to as Old Vegas. That's a dangerous place.
Okay.
The Strip is the Strip. Like
Yeah.
you could be on the north side, south side, doesn't matter. Like you're fine there. You go beyond that place, it's kind of it's the Wild West. It really is. Then when you get past there a little bit, there's actual like suburbs.
Yeah. By the way, in side note, in 2000, when was the big drop? 2008, right?
Yeah.
So around 2008, me and Mrs. Meth had a look at housings. We could have bought a Las Vegas house, big one too, for about $35,000. Not even cash. Deposit, I'm not joking. Deposit was $1,000. Keep laughing, buddy boy.
Do you know why?
I know why. We could have technically bought one for $10,000 that had a pool for bedrooms.
Yeah.
Technically, because it was foreclosures and stuff. So not really 10,000.
Well, foreclosures, and there's a lot of police seized assets.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So because of that, we kind of never mind. We could have bought a house, but it was in Nevada, in Vegas, in a neighborhood that we know nothing of.
Yeah.
But on Google Earth, the house looked dope. Like it looks really good. And the neighborhood around it, it's like everyone has a pool. But that doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
Right. So they're in the diner and they're not really talking to each other, but
Yes.
Dr. Gonzo had a knife with a blood on it and he had a row with the waitress. And you, like we said at the beginning, you do hear about that waitress that got killed. A different waitress, different areas, but...
And also that waitress was 16.
Yes, the waitress was 16.
So
kind of fits with Dr. Gonzo's MO.
But also if you wanted to follow that narrative, she could have been that girl that survived the attack that, well, the other girl was decapitated, obviously. You can't survive that, obviously. But she had gone through a similar experience where she was attacked and her throat had been slit and she survived it, she would have been in that situation. So you want to follow that narrative thread, the two, where I could see where you would tie the two together very easily.
Like I said, for me, it's sort of tied, but not really. In terms of in terms of screenplay, when you're trying to do a setup and a payoff and all that stuff, to me is like it's sort of a payoff to an information bit that you got during a time where you really shouldn't have listened to that story, right? It's in the background. It is there, but Raul Duke is in the throes of an LSD trip and all that stuff. So it's a bit, is it happening? Is it really not happening? Maybe it's something he wrote when he remembered back, all that.
Yep. Well, that's, again, as I mentioned before, just like in Joker, Raul Duke is a very unreliable narrator. We don't know what it technically is real and what is not, besides what is recorded. That's it.
Right. So,
but I would say that the North Star Coffee Lounge scene is one of the most uncomfortable scenes we will review because it is severely off-putting and it does make me upset every single time I watch it.
Yeah. I got the same vibe. So something nefarious is either going to happen off screen or literally going to happen. You can feel the tension for sure. You can feel it. Like it, don't like it. You can feel it. So like I said, and I got it mixed up. He drives them into the airport. They do run into Lucy. It kind of snaps them into reality. Even though they're after the whole trip, it kind of snaps them to where they kind of started with, which is get Lucy the fuck away from this hotel room and
Correct.
put her away and let's forget her.
Yeah.
And of course, he drives Dr. Gonzo
Drives
away
through the gate
through the gate. Through
to the plane.
Yeah. And of course, this is the 70s. There's no passport between states. So you don't even have to go through passport checks, right? You're
Yeah,
thinking.
you would in the 70s still.
Still? Okay.
You would still need a passport, yes. But he is not flying internationally.
I said in between states. He flies to Los Angeles, so it's between Nevada and California.
You would need to go to a passport check. Yeah, you would still need to go through an airport check. Yeah. That's why, again, this scene is superfluous kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I thought it would be. It's like either it was in his mind that he drove through the thing.
Yes.
Or he wrote it that way, or I don't know. And
well, and also as well as when he's leaving it, and they have the other really famous line is as well, there goes one of God's creatures, too weird to live and too rare to die, about Gonzo. But it's actually, this is a historical anachronism, because as Gonzo's going up, he does the same salute that Nixon did when he resigned.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this was before Nixon resigned.
Because this is 73.
70. I think this is 72.
72.
Yeah.
Whenever he wrote the book. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But yeah, so this happened before.
Yeah.
Nixon's resignation. So that, again, there's a historical anachronism there. That's found that funny. But yeah.
And we come to the last kind of scene where he's in the hotel room and he writes the whole story, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And it's a bit, I don't know. It kind of ended on a loose part for me.
Wrap up of essentially, again, going back to his entire narrative, somewhat thesis about the death of the American dream and about how this trip in itself proved that was real. But
yeah,
in a way, this trip proved that nothing was real.
Sorry. I would say it's sort of coming to terms with the experience they had in Las Vegas and how to deal with it, I would say. Again, for me, it was sort of trying to like tie a bow on everything, but it didn't work for me. Again, the whole movie, I was like, when we're talking about it, seeing around, there are moments in it that I liked, but it's just
as a cohesive narrative, it doesn't work, and that's why I really, that's why being such a fan of the book before I had ever seen the film was a big boost to me, because I knew all of the stuff that was missing, because the book makes it actually a cohesive narrative. There are a lot of missing scenes that are in the interim that tie everything together more and that actually does make it more of a cohesive narrative. There are obviously some missing plot holes and things like that, but it's intentional, because it is just about two guys in Las Vegas. One's a writer, and they're high as fuck the entire time.
You would imagine a person going through that particular experience, where super high, super low, super high, the story itself would had the same kind of roller coaster ride as whatever that was, right? You would expect it to be, but again, as a movie, I'm going into the summarization part in here, but as a movie, it doesn't do it for me. Now,
No, that's perfectly fine.
Terry Gilliam's works, in terms of works, it's always very unique. Always very unique.
That's
He
very
has
true.
some sort of a vision, whether or not you're with him or without him. Oh shit, my camera goes. Whether you're with him or without him, it always is unique, a unique viewpoint. So I can appreciate
True.
that, but for this, like, doesn't really work for me. Do I think Johnny Depp did a good job with this? Yes, I do. Do I think Benicio del Toro did a good job with this? I think so. I'm not sure because it's Benicio del Toro. I never got the actor. Never, ever got the actor.
That's fair. That's fair.
Even, for example, the whole portrayal of the Collector in the MCU, not my favorite part. Not my favorite part. He does do a lot of exposition dumps, but overall, the performance,
But
too
see,
theatrical. He's
that was
too method.
That was the odd thing. Sorry.
I know you in MCU films. I know.
No. I was gonna say
I'm just
I could
giving
explain
you an example for Benicio del Toro specifically.
Well, no, I was just gonna explain the Collector because the Collector is that way. He is just
he
generally
is grandiose and
he's grandiose
with gestures.
and because he views himself as a near omnipotent being, which he was not, obviously.
Yeah.
But he views himself above everyone else, so everything is grand, and he has to be so just self-aggrandizing and verbose to everyone that he meets because that's just who he is as a character.
So you mean Benicio del Toro's like casting was perfect?
Oeuvre? Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
Well, that puts something else in perspective. Never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, Benicio del Toro did Benicio del Toro shit. Is it like the character of Dr. Gonzo? Perhaps. Maybe I didn't like the character. It's just I didn't like.
Oh well, he's a very, very unlikable character to begin with.
In terms of like we said with the cinematography. Again, I'm gonna the end where it goes into like a spiral. Because it goes out. And not only around, it goes out. So it's like a spiral thing. It's a choice. But I think like every angle was specific. It was from the back, from the side, it was from this, and from a lot of like ways of shooting a film where you're like, oh, I wouldn't have made that choice, but this is interesting. There's a lot of close-ups, but something happens in the back, right? At like with out of focus things happening in the back. Those when there's 2 or 3 people in the shot, there's always something that happens here right in your face and something that happens in the back. It is not really important, just movement all the time.
Yes,
not
but
unlike
also,
my camera that doesn't like movement.
as you can tell too. That was just a case in point when when you did a pause on the North Star Lounge coffee scene, just on Johnny Depp. But if you notice in the background, there was a woman that was wearing a horse head.
Yes, I did notice it. It was Amaranth. Never mind. That's a Twitch joke for those of you.
She would have been like 6 years old, I think, at that point.
Maybe 3. Maybe 3. Right.
But the other thing to wrap up near the end, the last scene there, again, him driving back to Las Vegas was the scene where they couldn't afford the rights to the song.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yes, and then also, but when he says one thing, when I'm heading back to Los Angeles, and goes, now I get to fade back into obscurity, another freak in the freak kingdom.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So now you kind of wrapped up a lot of what you had to say, but
yeah, I like I said, I jumped into the wrap up. Anything else?
Not much really.
Didn't like?
I mean, I obviously think that the book was better. I know it's very cliche to say that. There's just a lot that is missing from this, and where this seems more like a fun romp a little bit. It really doesn't tie everything together on what Thompson really wanted the book to be about.
Mm.
So it has those cohesive narrative threads throughout about how he's talking about the death of the American dream, under the view of the hippie generation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really tie in anything to bring that to a cathartic end at the end. If you read the book, it doesn't make complete sense because, again, it's still, there's a lot of plot holes missing, but it is more cohesive. There is a final point where you go, okay, I see what he was talking about. This does kind of wrap everything up, and it does put a bow, the proverbial bow on the end of it.
Okay.
Is it his best work? No, not whatsoever. I think, obviously, I think his best work is either the Rum Diary or let me see. I've got it right here. I've got it sitting right here. Let me grab it. There it is. This one. It is Hell's Angels: A Strange and Terrible Saga. Fantastic novel.
Yep. It's on my audiobook list as your camera starts to go crazy. It's a great it's a great point to end. So before we leave you guys, one thing we have to put on is the short version of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. The short version.
I do it lightheaded. Maybe you should drive.
Careful with this car, right?
Oh, yeah, man, of course.
Good.
Hey!
Thanks for the ride! I like you guys, Billy! Don't worry about me!
Wait a minute!
You
Come
got
on
it,
out
buddy?
here!
Can you
I'm
hear
gonna
it?
miss him. I need this, right?
I remember your face.
Jesus, God almighty, look at that bunch over there, man.
I'm gonna let myself out. Ali beaten by a human hamburger.
It was time, I felt, for an agonizing reappraisal of the whole scene. You're fired. Devil ether. It makes you behave like the village drunkard in some early Irish novel. This is not a good town for psychedelic drugs. But turn your back on a drug. Especially when it's waving a razor-sharp hunting knife in your eye. Our room service tabs had been running somewhere between $29 and $36 per hour.
What in the hell did you think you were doing?
Fuck. Sweet Jesus, it's him. She's doing her master's thesis on, Barbra Streisand. There was evidence in this room of excessive consumption of almost every type of drug known to civilized man since 1544 AD.
I gotta take a lot of shit in this place, but I don't have to take it off no spit pimp.
What Leary took down with him was the central illusion of a whole lifestyle that he helped create.
I don't have to be this big. There we go. Hopefully it didn't break up for you guys. Apparently it did. So that was a short version of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And next week, guys, it is Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage and
It's
Elizabeth
a doozy.
Shue. It's a wild, drunken ride, shall we say.
Yes.
Wild, drunken ride. All right. Before we leave you, please like this video, subscribe if you want, and share the podcast around. Share it around. If you want to interact with me, at Mephisto on Twitter, at Mephisto79 on Instagram. You can email us at the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. If you want to watch us on Twitch rather than YouTube, you can watch us. It's simulcast to Twitch, twitch.tv/The Reel McCoy podcast. And of course, have a great weekend and have a good night.